This
Welcome everyone to
conference will now be recorded.
the Commissioners meeting on Monday, April the 3rd, 2023. This time I'd like to ask Reverend David Foster of the Bladen Baptist Association to provide our invocation. And after that, if County Manager Greg Martin will lead us in our pledge of allegiance.
Let us pray. Holy God, we come to you tonight thanking you for the opportunity to have this communication with you and one another. Lord, I pray that as this meeting goes forward, that you are glorified. I pray, God, for compassion, for guidance, for discernment in all matters. I thank you for these leaders that have been elected, Lord, and serve this county to the best of their ability. I thank you, Lord, the opportunities that the resident of this county has to come and to bring issues and talk about ways to be more efficient and responsible with the things that take place in Bladen County. Lord, I pray you give guidance, especially this Easter season, Lord. We are reminded of our need for you. God, help us to know that we are in need of you and that you are the only one that we can really call out to. There is no one else that can provide the guidance and the direction, provision, and care that you can. So, Lord, we call upon you, Lord, to come into this meeting, come into our lives, and to help us do our part to make Bladen County the very best that it can be, Lord, for the glory of all those that live here, plus also lifting up presence and glory for the kingdom of God. We thank you, Lord, for your presence in this place and the guidance that you provide. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, consent items. I make a motion to approve. Motion to approve by Mr. Bullock, second by Mr. Britt. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Individual delegation wish to address commissioners.
Jim Creighton.
All right, Mr. Jim.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Floor is yours, sir.
I realize that most of you don't know me, don't know much about me. But I have some insights I hope that you'll take to heart about some problems currently in the fire service in the county. I have been in the fire service for 25 years. I've served as assistant chief or chief in two different fire departments here and in Cumberland County. For 2 years, I was the president of the Bladen County Firefighters Association, and I was very active in the training center, being up to speed, at least on the fire side, out of the old prison camp. Outside of the fire service, before I left Cumberland County to come back down here, I spent 8 years on the board of the Fayetteville Dogwood Festival, biggest thing going on in Fayetteville in the spring. 3 of the years I was chairman of the festival, and with an 18-member volunteer board, we grew the Dogwood Festival from a 2-week, 30,000 attendance event to a 2-week, 150,000 attendance event. And that was during my tenure on the board. I'm not taking credit for all of that, but I was the chairman for 3 of those festivals, and we had a good, well-functioning board. It was a good time to be there because there was a lot happening. I was also allocations chair for the Cumberland County United Way. It was my responsibility to oversee the administration of what nonprofits got what piece of the pie that the United Way had raised. Typically, our budget was about $1.5 million a year that we had to make decisions on who got what. I say that not to toot my own horn so much, but to let you know that I've had a varied, experienced base in my life with the fire service and nonprofit volunteer work. I think it positions me a little bit uniquely to look at the problems we've got now and maybe think out the box a little bit and bring some things together, because volunteerism is a part of our problem. Getting on, I've been thinking about the situation as I know it in the county, and I see 3 problems: funding, volunteerism, and administrative issues. Talking about funding. We're just talking about with Mr. Martin about budgets for the fire department. The majority of the departments in the county, as I understand it, are still taxed at 6 cents. I don't know how in the world you can run a modern fire department on that kind of money. I understand that there's reluctance and kind of a fear on some part to try to raise any taxes But if you're going to deliver the goods, you got to do what you got to do. And I see a lot of places that way. As a parallel, when I was first in the Stedman Fire Department, I was a plank holder, charter member. Our first contract with Cumberland County on a 4-mile district was $20,000, just a little bit less than that. And we took $20,000 and struggled and scraped, and we built a fire department with it. But now that was in 1973. What would it take to have that kind of buying power today? I'd say roughly $100,000. To my knowledge, there may be one fire department in this county that gets $100,000 or $80,000 in that range. The median seems to be somewhere in the neighborhood of $50,000. We've got departments that get down in the 30s. I just don't see how it can be done. Not and maintain equipment. I know at Baytree, and I'm not here representing any fire department or any organization. This is me talking from my experiences. We just ordered a new engine to be here in about a year and a half, $400,000 for a fire truck, and that was the best bargain we could find. Not a lot of bells and whistles on it. Everything the fire service uses has an expiration date on it. It's got to be replaced, and if you're going to stay up to snuff with all the state requirements and everything, you'd best be replacing your equipment or finding a way to document that you have replaced it, or they'll get you on it. And we've got some departments now that are suffering from that, from their record-keeping problems. I think to solve that problem, it's better to, rather than crying about your woes, it's best to let's see if we can turn it into a positive somehow or another. Don't think about where we are now. Think about where you want to get to. Say your horse is in the ditch. Don't worry about getting the horse out of the ditch. Worry about getting that horse so you can go to town and buy a new car. That's the kind of thing I'd like if you follow that analogy. People are attracted to progress. You got something going on. I capitalized that with the Dogwood Festival. We started making progress. More people kept buying in because winter brings that about. You can use the same thing in the fire service. I'll point to an example. Mention Baytree again. That had an easy way maybe to get some more tax money. Several years ago, we identified that we needed more money to do the job. We were at 6 cents. We said that we needed at least 3 cents more to accomplish what we felt our mission was. So we went to the property owners, largely at Baytree, since that's the biggest chunk of money out there, and said, look, we'll make a deal with you. If you'll give us 3 cents and give us a couple of years, we'll come back and we'll lower your property insurance, your fire insurance rating. And we did that. We didn't make them any money, but by the time it was over and said and done with, it was pretty much a wash. The 3 cents was eat up by the decrease we gave them in their insurance premium. So it was an easy pill to swallow. I think you can do the same thing in a lot of fire departments in this county now. Just say, look, you got to worry about where you are right now, but let's get focused on where we could be 2 or 3 years down the road if we just did thus and so. I don't see that mindset in the county. I know most of the chiefs and I know a lot of the firefighters, and it's like there's a fear to mention taxes. But like we did, it's how you present it that gets the job done. Other thing I mentioned was volunteerism. We have a generation of people right now, or me, myself, and our generation, what's in it for me? The last 20 or 30 years, kids coming out of schools, what they see on TV, the society we're in and everything, that seems to be the focus of a lot of people. And that's one of the reasons we're having so much trouble getting volunteers in the fire service. I really think if we could get more people in, there's a great deal of camaraderie that goes on in a good functioning fire department. You form friends for life. I mean, if you're going in a burning house, you want to know that the guy beside you's got your back and you got his back. And that breeds, it's kind of like the military, that breeds a kind of friendship that you don't find anywhere else. We just got to get them in the door to experience that. So, right now, if I go to Hardee's and say I'm in the fire department, they'll give me a 10% discount for my order. Only place in town that does that I know of. Arby's used to do it, but now they're down to a discount, but you got to be in uniform and on duty. So that's not helping the volunteers any at all. I think there's a way to motivate the county, to mobilize them, and to get more businesses, more entities buying into that. There needs to be some accountability. I don't think it would be too hard to come up with a master roster from the firefighters in the county that have met their training requirement, maybe exceeded it, that have shown up for enough calls, and whatever else you want to attach to it. the people that qualify that get an ID card, that's not going to be a lot of money to print an ID card. But if you got that ID card, you can go to these businesses and you get your discount. If you don't have that ID card, you pay the same thing everybody else does. If we get enough businesses buying into it, then that would be an incentive to get people in the fire department and keep them in them. Another thing that you could do, you've got complete control over this. Most of these young people don't own homes, so a tax break on their house is not going to do any good. Every one of them owns a car or a pickup truck. Most of them are using older trucks. You got a $15,000 truck, what's the property tax on a $15,000 item? Less than $100 property. So if you get 100 volunteer firefighters to meet the training requirements and do everything, you waive their property tax on one of their vehicles, it costs you $10,000. Where can you get a bargain like that? You get 100 volunteer fire department firefighters, and you got them hooked. They come back every year just to get that tax break. Not that big a deal in the scope of things for your budget, but what would it get you? And I'm not saying that's the answer. That's something to think about. That's all that is. But we're going to have to do something to get out of the rut we're in right now. There's an old saying, if you keep doing what you've been doing, you're going to keep getting the same results. The only way to change the results is change what you're doing. And I think it applies here. The last thing, administrative issues. You know, all the time I've been in the fire service, I don't think I've ever met anybody that wasn't a good person. A salt of the earth, down to earth, good person. I trust them with my life. But unfortunately, everybody's mindset, everybody didn't get dealt the same skill set or whatever. I wouldn't want one of these good old boys making a decision on me and having to sew it up. They don't have the skill set for that. Likewise, some of them may not have the skill set for administrative duty. So we got to find a way to help them, to incentivize them to do a better job, or find somebody to do that. Two things I'll throw out to you right now. The ISO insurance rating is a big thing that drives your insurance premiums. There's nobody in this county that I know of that is more knowledgeable about the ISO rating process than Ben Corbett. He's my current fire chief at Baytree. I don't have any idea who'd be interested in helping out with some of these departments that are in trouble, but you couldn't find anybody any better than him. I think it might behoove you to approach him, and I've not said a word to him. He works rotating shifts work at Corning, so he's off sometimes. He may have enough time to do this. Lori Morgan, who's assistant chief or something up at Hickory Grove, is one smart young woman. Most people don't know it, but she was one of my students, and I get kind of possessive talking about her. She went to East Carolina on a full ride North Carolina scholarship. And just to know her, be around her, you wouldn't know that. She's one of the most highly organized individuals I've ever met. She took my band program her senior year and ran it because she wanted to be a band director. She wanted to learn how to do it. And I had no complaints the way she did it. She took it and organized it, and bam, probably better some things than I had done. But she is knowledgeable about a lot of the issues with the bookkeeping in the fire departments because she's got Hickory Grove organized. So that's some things you can do. I know there's a couple of things that may be on your agenda tonight. Some money for the fire departments to help do some repairs, or maybe a position to help solve some of these problems. All of that is great, but money for repairs, you need to understand that's kind of like a Band-Aid for a temporary thing. Things that I've talked about are permanent kind of solutions to the problem, forward thinking, and I hope you'll take them as positive. And that's what we need to do. I think, regardless of how things come out here tonight, I know you're fixing to hire a new emergency management director, unless that's already happened. I know it's in the offing. It's a possibility that some of the responsibility for doing this oversight could be attached to that office or through the fire marshal's office or something. I think these people, depending on who you might hire for a kind of a babysitter, for lack of a better term, make sure it's somebody that's in and out of the fire departments that knows everybody and somebody they're going to relate to. And I think some of the staff we've already got could do that job. Now, what I said a while ago about it, the only way to change the outcome is to change the input. I look at Cumberland County, and several years ago, they were faced with some of the problems like we're having now, volunteerism especially. They wound up going to 15 cents as a property tax countywide. The departments were already getting, most of them, 10 cents. So they took that extra 5 cents and they put it in a fund, and I don't know who decides what, but that fund is used to bring the weaker fire departments financially up on a parity. And I think that the floor in Cumberland County is $300,000 a year. That's the budget they want every fire department to have, minimum. I do know that every department there now is staffed pretty much around the clock with 2 or 3 people. The backside of that is some of those departments have found that that's all they got to run their fire department with, because it's still the volunteer side of it. So I don't think you want to go there. I don't think you can afford to go there because we don't have the tax base Cumberland County's got. If you went to 15 cents, you probably wouldn't get much more than one of those fire departments' budgets out of it. So I think you need to have some prayerful consideration about how to solve this problem. Make sure that whatever you do is going to be a permanent fix to the problem, and it is a real fix, not just a swing at a wild pitch. So it sounds good, and what is good, 2 different things. If I can help you in any way at any time, don't hesitate to call me. A couple of you know how to get up with me. I'm not looking for a job, don't get me wrong, but I do have a considerable amount of experience, and I'm passionate about it. I want to help. The reason I got out of the chief's business is because my health has got to the point. I got kind of tired of being in charge of stuff, so I decided to take a break. I thank you for your attention and your time.
Thank you.
And good luck.
Matters of interest to commissioners?
Mr. Hester, I'd like to make a motion, we approve that part-time clerical position to support all the fire departments in Bladen County. I also would like for it to be 6 months. The 6 months we reevaluate it and make sure that it's doing what it needs to do, and also think that turn it over to Chiefs Association to hire this person and hold this person accountable for what their duties are developed by the fire chiefs.
I'd second that with just, I guess, one comment. That would be, as I thought about this last few days, I don't know that much about the fire service, Mr. Jim, but I don't know if that person also might be somebody skilled in grant. There's a lot of grants out there. If it'd be a person that not only would help them maintain what they got, but maybe also be able to get some more money for the department. But second to that.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
do we have a written copy of the job description on this? Is there a job description?
It will be developed by the fire chiefs.
Well, how can we approve it
Yeah.
without having the description of the job?
With her in the position
To do what?
to assist the fire chiefs, to do their inspections, do their paperwork. We can sit back here and say yay or no, you don't have a job description, all this stuff. I'm telling you, that you lost 3 fire departments this year, and we better be investing in these rural fire departments, and we better be helping these chiefs so that we don't lose no more. This county cannot afford to go to full paid fire protection. And this is one of the things that the chiefs at their meeting decided they wanted, so I'm bringing it, and I'm representing the chiefs.
I'm not against that. I just like to see something, a job description at least before we approve it, because so you know what we're approving. I'm not against having this position, but you need to know something in writing. What is it about, Mark?
Excuse me, my thought is if the board is interested in moving forward with that, I know it was brought up as a concept or whatever at the last meeting, but we certainly would do that, depending on the action you take tonight.
So, Mr. Hester, my motion is to fill this position and turn that position over to the fire chiefs. That's what I made my motion was, for them to decide what they need to help them survive.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to know how much the position's gonna cost, how long it's gonna, you say 6 months, but
6
Well, how
months
much?
probationary.
and how much you going to invest in that?
Yes, it was in our packet.
I'm sorry?
It was in our packet.
Yeah, how,
So they can't work with 1,050 hours per year?
No more than 1,000.
that's
And then this would only be really 6 months, maybe. We're only looking at 6 months.
I'm not against the position. Just need something in writing.
Mr. Cosme.
Mr. Peterson, with your motion, we want to fund a position. That's third position. Can you make a motion? Could your motion be stated in such a way that we're funding the motion with future
No, sir, I made the motion, and you can vote it up or you can vote it down.
Mr. Martin needed, Mr. Martin can get us some.
I think that if you ain't got faith in your fire chief to decide what they need, then we got problems. I think we turn it over to them with Greg Martins. He's gonna be the acting emergency director come Saturday morning or Friday night. And he'll be at the chief's meeting the next Tuesday at Clarkton if you wanna go.
That might be something some of us need to start,
One last question. Can I ask something for, can I ask Mr. Martin something for reference? For historically, have we ever created a position without having a description of what we're gonna do?
Well, you may have decided, the board may have decided if you wanted to create a position and then from there, a job description.
Okay, so we have done that in the past.
I can't think of a specific example. I'm just thinking normally the board indicates whether or not it wants to create a position. And then we would work, I guess we would work with the fire chiefs to develop the job description
You'd be the one responsible for getting that done.
for the time until we can,
You would do it.
for the time until we can hire an emergency services director.
That's why I'm making sure who's gonna do it. And bring it back.
I think this is nothing short than an emergency. It's a big deal. We can't let this just 6-8 months. We're gonna see a family burned up.
Administrative should not affect a fire chief like that or a fire service. You got volunteer firefighters and paid firefighters who serve and protect. So I don't think the administrative person would make a big difference for a month or 2 weeks from now, because we have a meeting on the 17th, and they had it done by then. They know what they want, what they need. They can tell us what they need. And then anyone can create that.
Second call.
When I finish, I don't care if you do when I finish. As long as you create it and tell us what they need, and I think they know it already, just put it in writing to us. And you have a couple of them may do it. He may know already what they need. We don't. I mean, I served as administrator for the fire department. I've also done the finance side up, so I know some of the things you have to do. But what is she gonna do? Or he or she? And then, are they doing the finance side of it, or they just administrative for the training side? What?
So, Mr. Esther, I think I made it pretty clear. Whoever this person we hire is gonna do the inspections and help them with paperwork. It'll be an hour or two, or maybe a week, or every other week for each fire department to help with those things. That is the dang job description. And I call for question. Let's vote it up or down. Move on.
All right, all in favor, raise your right hand, raise a hand, please. All opposed, raise a hand. Raise a hand. Okay. Motion carries.
So, Mr. Esther, the second request I brought to the board was to put this $10,000 in a slush fund for the fire chiefs to, meet and decide how this money is appropriated to each fire department that has a need. The biggest concern they talked about that night I went was the big trucks. There's a lot of those big trucks down, and like $2,000 or $2,500 might can put them back in the road. And that's what that slush fund is for.
Question, just one question. Would that come out of this budget, or would that start in July?
That comes out of fund balance if it's approved as of.
And then we would do another 10,000 in July?
We'll see what they spend.
Probably need more than that.
That's the question. Got a motion and a second. Okay, Mr.
The
Coggins.
only thing I'm saying is, I'm in full support of those guys getting, just like he was saying, I don't know anything about fire department. I don't know about big heavy equipment. But could this be, I don't think we need to come back and have this discussion. Why come this can't be the initial $10,000 appropriation? Where it's not something that we got to keep back coming to business all the time. We can put the money out here. This is the initial appropriation of $10,000. That way, if you need additional money, some of the guys may need more money. We don't have to worry about coming back to it every time we get ready to increase it. This do the initial appropriation of $10,000 and kind of leave it open-ended, or put from $10,000 to $50,000.
I think that's what you're saying. Well, this is a start.
I don't know what's different from what I said.
Let me say, put it where it's initial initial,
Well, if you approve it, it's $10,000 in the budget for it.
Mr. Chairman, two questions. One, just for clarification, in the last meeting, I didn't think we were just talking about the high water vehicle. Is this motion, just so I understand, is it just because they're typed, it's with high water vehicle repairs? Or could this money be used for other fires?
That's what they asked for, is how. That's what they asked for, was to help get the high water vehicles repaired, but this money will be in that pot, like Mr. Cogdell said, and then the fire chiefs will divvy this money out, whatever the needs are.
Yeah, I just think by having the motion read repairs with high water vehicles.
I didn't make my motion like that.
Well, no, I'm saying in the written it is, and I just,
Yeah,
that's just.
that's not my motion.
Okay, that's the second thing.
That's not my motion. I don't know what's in written, but you vote on what my motion is, not what's written.
Okay, well, so make sure we're on the same page. Other question. So once that 10,000 is spent, how does it get replenished? And maybe everybody else understands that. I'm just not. Just so there is I want there to be a mechanism in place that we don't just have 10,000 and then we run out.
That was the thing I said. If we do it, that will be a budget item.
Well, that's a good question. I was thinking, the same thing. Is this for the remainder of the fiscal year and then we, budget additional money in July
This
first?
money
How would
is to
that-
help,
how would that look?
if we approve it, it will go into the slush fund as of in the morning. And then the budget, every year the budget, we'll decide whether we put $10,000 there or not.
Can I get what you say, Mr. Martin?
I was asking, is this now through the duration of this current fiscal year, June 30th, and then we would go, like, as we develop the budget, we would include 10,000 for next year?
Yeah, that's the most appropriate way of doing it, that we don't have to revisit it for this one time. And then come back and do it again, same thing, I'm just saying, don't leave it closed in, leave it
I
open.
didn't know it was closed, that's what I'm saying. I'm good.
Anybody else?
I'm good.
All right, I have a motion by Mr. Peterson, second by Mr. McGill. Ray, second, I'm sorry. Ray. All in favor, raise your hand. Any opposed, same sign.
I think we 20,000. I'm not sure. I think they need more, it's a Band-Aid. 10,000 is not gonna be enough. They need $20,000.
That's what the chiefs asked for, Dr. Bill Mongola.
All right.
We can put more in.
In the budget, we talked budget. Mr. David Howe, Mercy Medical Services. The floor is yours, sir.
Thanks, sir. Hope everybody's doing well. Only reason I wanted to come tonight was just speak a little bit about E-Town Rescue. Their board did donate one unit to us, an ambulance, 2013 wheel coach unit. I want to first publicly thank the board members from E-Town Rescue for that. What we're going to do with this unit, I had it looked at by the county garage, and I had a technician from Atlantic Emergency look at it. The chief was telling me there were some issues with the chassis with some electrical stuff. So there is some issues there. From advisement from the county garage and from Atlantic Emergency, I think we're going to be chasing a rabbit looking for electrical issues. So the positive to this, because this truck, the box meets within the years for remount. The box is in excellent shape. Control boards are in excellent shape. So we can remount this unit this budget year for $180,000 versus buying a 235 brand new one and get it back within 12 months versus 24-month lead time. So that's the positive with this donation, in which did not cost us a penny. They just freely donated it to us. I did want to give you an update on the trucks that we ordered in October. We ordered 2. Spoke with Atlantic Emergency about it last week. The delivery time shifted to the right. Instead of October 2024, it's May of 2025 for those 2 trucks. Just so you guys are aware of how supply times and lead times are running with these trucks. That's why I think this is the best option. With this unit, we'll have a savings, of course, $55,000, but we'll turn it around quicker too. So that's kind of why I wanted to come to you, give you just an update of where the ambulances were as far as lead times and what we plan on doing with this unit. Yes, sir.
That unit being put in place this coming year, if you're talking about the remount?
Yes, if it's approved in the budget, it'll get shipped out, of course, after July 1 to one of their remount facilities, and then within 9 to 12 months is what I was told. it would be in service.
So it won't have any impact on the two that we supposed to get.
Right, it won't affect.
It won't affect those two. We'll still be getting those two, so this will be a plus one.
Correct. Because what we did, we put in for 2 brand new trucks. What we're proposing is changing one of the brand new trucks to a remount, which of course would be a savings to the county and a quicker turnaround.
Mr. Howard, I thought we gave you 2 units, the second one too.
One, Ms. Marie gave me paperwork for is that one.
Chairman of the board, I understand you got both of them.
The chief said one. That's something with you guys.
I'll work on the second.
Okay. Now, I will say the second one is not eligible for remount because of the age of the box.
But would it be of any value to you?
Honestly, no. Because
Don't say
Mr. Peterson.
Mr. Martin, instead of waiting, and Ray just had a comment, instead of waiting July, let's go ahead and approve that money and we'll get that ambulance out. You know, as soon as the board approves, accept it.
Let's go to the vote.
So that'd be my motion, to accept it and go ahead and start the remount in the morning.
Instead of waiting to the budget.
Yeah.
That'd be my motion. All right, motion to go ahead and accept the donation and go ahead and put it in for the remount.
Somebody second it.
I second that.
Second by Mr. Bullock. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
Sir.
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman, we've drafted a letter, to the Elizabethtown Rescue Squad Board, thanking them.
Absolutely, absolutely. We appreciate it.
Appreciate it, David.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
All right. Next, I think Mr. Greg Martin will
Yes, sir.
handle this part of it.
John, several years ago, the county, went with one broker for supplemental benefits for employees. And overall, it's been a positive experience. As you know, things are always evergreen, and we would like to explore other options to see what's out there. It doesn't mean necessarily automatically make a change, but, we just like to explore options. And so we would like the board to, approve us doing an RFQ, a request for qualifications from other providers, and then we'll have a process when they'll be able to give presentations and that type of thing, determine the path forward.
So make a motion to. Motion by Mr. Gillespie, second by Dr. Ellis. Any discussion?
Is this a part of the thing when we did the insurance realignment, do those things?
Yes,
We
sir.
had, Lisa West and those guys.
Yes.
So now we're gonna go out and look at some other options
Yes.
that we can consider, but are we in the time frame to change them?
It would not be effective until January 1st. That runs on the calendar.
So it would be
It's just
January
the
4th,
time
but we
frame.
should change it if you had to change.
Yes.
Any other discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Have some advisory board appointments for May 15th. All right, turn it over to Mr. Greg Martin. Once again.
Thank you. I'd like to review the calendar with you and point out that tomorrow at 12, the Bladen County Industry Group Lunch Meeting will take place at Cape Fear Vineyard. You all have been contacted about that. The speaker will be a representative from NC for Me, which is the military group, or is a group that connects outgoing military people leaving the military, whether they be veterans or just resigning from the military, with jobs in North Carolina. And they've been highly successful, and so we're fortunate to have them here tomorrow. So I hope as many of you can attend as possible. Also tomorrow evening from 5:30 to 6:30, Bladen Community College Scholars Reception will take place at the Workforce Training Building on the campus there at PCC. County offices will be closed Friday the 7th in observance of Good Friday. On Sunday the 9th, 7 until 9:30, there's a community Easter sunrise service, Cape Fear Farmers Market. On Monday the 10th at 5 p.m., the Health and Human Services Advisory Committee meets. On Tuesday the 11th at 2 p.m., there's a Substance Use Disorder Task Force meeting. This will be held at the Health Department in the conference room rather than at the college. Also that evening at 5 p.m., the Board of Elections meets. The board meets on Monday the 17th at 5:30 for, well, actually, it's a board of equalization and review meeting. And the county commissioners meet at 6:30. Moving over to May, on Monday the 1st at 8 a.m., there's a prayer service here. The board of our meeting at 5:30 and the board of commissioners meeting at 6:30. On Sunday the 7th, the Elizabethtown 250th anniversary Civil War hero celebration will take place, and they're kind of doing it in time increments. This period will focus on 1824 to 1873. Monday the 8th at 5 p.m., the Health and Human Services Advisory Committee. On Tuesday the 9th, the Board of Elections meeting. On Thursday the 11th at 10 a.m., the ceremony taking place in the county. I think you all received notice about that. On Friday the 12th at 10 a.m., there's a peace officers memorial service that will take place at the Bladen County Sheriff's Office. On Monday the 15th at 6:30 p.m., the Board of Commissioners meets. There's a save the date for the 18th. For a Committee of 100 annual banquet. And then on Monday, the 29th, county offices are closed for service.
Mr. Martin, is there any way that we could get those fire association meetings added to our calendar?
Certainly.
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Martin, on the, April the 4th, you said be like a recruiter there?
Yes, sir, tomorrow.
Okay. Be like a recruiter being?
Well, it's an organization that connects outgoing military people with prospective industries.
Oh, can we give him a copy of, on our website of the openings that we got? Maybe he can refer.
Yeah, well, that's what we're trying to do is to have that organization help us and help our private industries here in the county.
Okay.
We want to affiliate with them in the future. So this is kind of an informational session, and that's why industries have been invited.
All right, thank you, sir.
And I think the last count, there were 35 or 37.
37 now.
Yeah, so we'll be through.
All right, thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. Moving over to item B, Mr. Pate could not be here this evening, but we do have the application for Parks and Recreation Fund, and we would like the board to approve.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion to approve by Mr. Bullock, second by Dr. Moon. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Any opposed?
We also have item C, is to request your approval of Exhibit J for the Great Grant Agreement with Focus Broadband.
Second. Motion to approve by Mr. Britt, second by Mr. Bullock. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Any opposed?
Thank you. And then item D, the town of Elizabethtown has requested to revise, you all, let me back up, going back to a few months ago, the board approved $100,000 of the $250 that you all had earmarked from ARPA enabled funds for housing purposes, as an EDA grant match. Now the town is requesting to have that $100,000 revised to help toward, infrastructure. That you may recall that grant has been reduced, so they really don't need much for that purpose now. This will help the town to go ahead and move forward with infrastructure design work and that type of thing at the industrial park. Right. And it's already been earmarked by,
Second. Motion to approve by Mr. McGill, second by Mr. Gillespie. Any discussion?
Yeah, are we talking about the roads and the water, all that, we're talking about that?
that type of,
That's about live, work, and
live, work, play.
and play run.
Yes, sir.
When will we get an update on where that's at?
Very,
Gonna
very
get it now.
Very soon. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed?
Thank you. And then the last item is related to our annual nonprofit agency funding process. We're kind of delayed. We've been dealing so much with ARPA, but you may recall that in the summers, we normally send out information to prospective or to the organizations that we know of in the community that historically participated or that we have on our list. That was done last June. We received only 3 applications from the Disabled American Veterans Organization. They didn't specify an amount requested. From Lower Cape Fear Life Care and from Bladen County Youth Focus. So we really just want to come. That's kind of surprising. Normally we receive, as you all know, 6 or 8.
That's the 7, how much is 6,800?
Last year we did 4619. We did $782 per organization for 6 organizations.
How much do we have?
we had,
A lot for that.
yeah, $6,425. So I know we still have a little bit of time left in this year. I didn't know how you might want to proceed.
What's the cutoff date?
I think we need to, if it's already cut off, I think we need to extend it for a month or
That's what
two.
I'm saying.
I know I made contact with the Historical Society, Ms. Joyce, and they've changed secretaries. So
Do a Thursday extension on it?
whatever the board wants to do.
I make a motion that we do a Thursday extension.
And send that, and we'll send out.
I have a motion by Mr. Cogdale, 30-day extension, second by Mr. Britt. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Individual delegation wish to address commissioners. Matters of interest to commissioners. I have one real quick. DreamWorks now has a counselor, free of charge to anyone. The counselor could be addiction issues, grief, marital issues, and it is free of charge. So that's something that I just learned this past week, so I just want to get that out. Open to anyone. You can call and get an appointment, and somebody does some counseling services. Doesn't get any cheaper than that.
Give it.
I don't think.
Second.
I have a motion to go into closed session for economic development. We have a second by Mr. McGill. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Any opposed?